Welcome to Social Aloe Ministries, where we are committed to glorifying God while exposing the devil. Some of you may be in a position like Abraham, where the Lord made a promise to you. You're absolutely certain that it came from him, but you're wondering what is taking so long. You may have sought others for good and godly advice, and they've told you to make room for the promise. For example, get certain people out of your life, spend more time with the Lord, pray more, fast more, read the Bible more. We've done all these things, but nothing's happened. You're still waiting, wondering, why is the Lord taking so long to fulfill that promise to you? Well, I'm inspired to share a principle with you that I'm calling the Prophetic Metronome. Because there are times when those things that people tell you to do are things that you need to do. For example, spend time fasting and praying, reading the Bible, getting certain things and people out of your life to truly make room for the promise. And you may have experienced a disappointment where you're waiting for something and you see someone who's waiting even a much shorter time than you read the promise, but you're still waiting. And you're wondering if it's because you have done something wrong, or if there's something that you're not doing. It may be the case, but that is up to the Lord to determine. But in a lot of cases, it simply comes down to this: the metronome. It is a matter of timing. When I mentioned Abraham, the Lord could have fulfilled a promise to them within a year to bless them with a child. So why did the Lord wait 24 years before Sarah got pregnant? Why did the Lord wait for Sarah to be 89 years old to get pregnant? Why did the Lord wait so long? I submit to you that the answer is in the New Testament. In Matthew 1:17, where it states, and this covers the genealogy of Christ. So all the generations from Abraham to David are 14 generations. And from David until the carrying away into Babylon are 14 generations. And from the carrying away into Babylon unto Christ are 14 generations. The Lord is very precise. Isaac was a promised child. The birth of Isaac would set off a series of events that would set the timing for the birth of Christ. And the birth of Christ would change the world forever. But it had to be done within God's timing. So Abraham having to wait 25 years for the birth of Isaac coincided with the birth of Christ. Isaac had two sons, Jacob and Esau. Even Jacob having to wait 7 years in order to get married, that was setting the metronome, the timing, for the birth of Christ. It also mentioned about from Abraham to David, 14 generations. It took quite a while from the time David was anointed for him to be appointed as the king over Israel. It was after he ascended to the throne that he and Bathsheba had Solomon. These people are all in the genealogy of Christ. So for you, you may be waiting on something, and it may be very big. And a part of that is, when the Lord delivers it to you, it is going to change your life forever. And you truly have to trust his timing. And one of the big things a lot of people are waiting for is a God-ordained spouse. And while the Lord will bring someone into your life to add to it for multiplication, because one of the commands he gave Adam and Eve was to be fruitful and multiply. So you can expect some multiplication with the person that the Lord brings into your life. However, there are things that you can do now. Things that when you're in a relationship, for example, it makes it a bit more challenging to do. So enjoy the things that you can do during your single season. Or whatever it is that you're waiting on, just know that when the Lord delivers it to you, it is going to change your life forever. It may seem painful being without whatever it is, But again, it will change your life forever. And even Christ, when he was born, it took 30 years for God to call him forward. John the Baptist, Jesus' cousin, he lived in a wilderness until the Lord called him out, called him into Jerusalem. He was the one who saw Jesus. And in John 1:29, he saw Jesus, said, "Behold, the Lamb of God, which taketh away the sin of the world." He was the one who pointed Jesus out. And he also baptized Jesus. Before that, many people knew Jesus as being just a carpenter, Joseph's son. When Jesus was identified as being more than a carpenter's son, it changed his life forever. There were times when Jesus was in his ministry where, in a sense, it was like he was in hiding, because the personal time that he had before, that stuff was gone. People were always seeking him out. In John chapter 2, the wedding of Cana, there were times when his mother Mary wanted him to do something, and he was saying that his hour had not yet come. Once he turned that water into wine, his first miracle, that was it. Life as he knew it was over. He was starting to gain notoriety. So please, there may be things that you need to do in order to prepare for the promise. And when you've done everything that you've done, everything that you can do, just simply be still and know that he is God. When he makes a promise, he will fulfill it. Sometimes it simply comes down to a matter of timing. You may not know why, you may never find out why, but it may simply come down to a matter of timing. Because when he delivers a promise to you, it is going to change your life forever. And don't be surprised. For as many times as you have cried out to him, wanting him to deliver that promise, that there will be times when you receive that promise and you'll think back to the days before the promise and how you wish you kind of go back to maybe those quiet times. To whom much is given, much is required. By all means, clear the way for the promise. But remember, the prophetic metronome, because sometimes it is simply a matter of timing. God's perfect timing.